How we doing, guys?
Having been at practice these first 2 days and watched the tape of it, how would you classify how your offense has played in these two practices?
Oh, I think they're getting better. So much of this is putting guys in different situations and seeing how they handle it. We've done a lot of situational work with some young players. We're doing install really on a daily basis, so there's a lot for them to keep up with. And, I would say the defense has probably won the last couple days, if you want to characterize it like that. But we've been in some good situations. I think the guys, for the most part, have handled it well.
That's why I asked that is, I guess from our perspective, yeah, it looks like the defense wins, but I would assume that's not your priority right now. Just how do you balance that?
Yeah, we try to put our guys in competitive situations. We do a lot of different things to try to create that throughout our team. And really what you're looking for is how guys respond. And we're not always putting them in situations that are easy for them to handle. A lot of the situations we're in are not scripted. Oftentimes in practice you have scripted plays that guys prepare for. So a lot of this work is unscripted for guys, so they don't know what play is coming. They don't know what defense they're seeing. They're young guys. They're just seeing this for the first time. So really on both sides of the ball, we're trying to challenge them and just see how they respond to it.
How has the past year changed Zeke, if at all?
Well, I think you have to ask Zeke that. I think he's someone who obviously has been a very good player for us right from the get-go, and I think like with all players as they come into the league, I think the more they go, the more they understand what's required of them as players and as people, and I think they grow. And hopefully we put a good structure around him that can help him continue to grow as both a football player and as a person off the field. And really we try to do that with all of our players. That's part of our job as coaches.
From your perspective, how important was it for him to have a relatively quiet offseason?
I think that's important for any player that we have. You want to stay focused on becoming a better player, the best player you can be, and contributing as much as you can to our football team. And Zeke's done an excellent job really working right from day one since he's been here. He loves to play football. You see that every day in how he practices and how he goes about his business. And I think he's growing in so many different ways.
Kind of along those lines, what's your message to the team as you guys break up for 5 weeks or so today?
Well, the first is we've laid a great foundation for our team. Guys have worked really hard throughout this 9-week off-season program and for many weeks before that with our captain's workouts and the preparation guys did before that. So that's been good for our team. We're so far away. We're not even close to where we need to be, but we're doing what we need to do as we go. The biggest part of these next 5 weeks is for guys to get away from it for a minute and then get back at it. Rigorous training is important for us leading up to training camp, making sure that when they're on their own, they're doing the things necessary each and every day to have them come in and be in the best shape of their lives. And again, laid a great foundation. Make sure you maximize this time and get ready to work once we go to Oxnard.
You're holding your breath over these 5 weeks and wondering someone gets in trouble, someone gets in an accident, is there a lot of that going on?
Well, it's certainly something you try to talk to your team about and reinforce the importance of making great decisions. Not only get yourself ready to play, but the decisions you make off the field to make sure that you give yourself the best opportunity. And you don't do anything that can distract you from really the task at hand, which is coming in to be your best individually so we can be our best as a team. And so you try to reinforce that message, try to reinforce the message of hanging around with the right people, making the right decisions, and maximizing this opportunity.
Coach, what have you seen from your two rookie wide receivers, Wilson and Gallup?
I think they've done good things. There's a lot coming at them right now, so I think some days they've been good. They've picked it up well. Other days you can see that they're swimming a little bit. Wilson's been in and out of the lineup. He's had a little bit of injuries that he's been dealing with, but when he's gotten opportunities, he's clearly a smart guy and has picked things up well and handled himself well. Gallup has made some plays. But you can tell he's also learning. He's learning what we're asking him to do, and he's learning about how the defense is trying to defend him. And sometimes you literally can see the smoke coming out of young guys' ears. Their minds are working so quickly. Ultimately you want to get them to a point where they understand what we're doing, what teams are doing against them. They have enough reps at it so they can just go out there and play. And we're trying to get him to that point, and really all of our young guys to that point.
What are the Broncos getting into Marcus Ware, and what will y'all miss by not having him out at practice
I don't know the nature of that relationship with him. Obviously, he played there. I've talked to DeMarcus a number of times the last couple of weeks. I talked to him yesterday. So he's helped our team whenever he's been out here. I think the guys really respect him, obviously, as a player, but also as a person. And, whatever his role will be there, certainly they're getting a guy who's a first-class individual. He's got a lot of expertise about rushing the passer.
Do you guys try and have him come on and serve in a similar role as any kind of consultant?
Yeah, we've had conversations with him. Again, he was out helping our guys last week, and he's always welcome around here. We love the guy.
His understanding is that he can only be contractually committed to one team, and that he went to Denver. Do you see it the same way? Do you know it to be the same way?
Yeah, I don't know that we should get into all of this right here, right now. I did talk to him yesterday, and he told me, what was going on with Denver. He also told me that nothing necessarily was finalized, with his situation there. But, we love him. He's welcome here. He's been such a great player and such a great person for this organization for a long time.
George, in the all or nothing series, with you and Dak kind of, at the end of practice, little point kind of system, fun thing, where did that kind of, come from? Was that something that someone instilled in you, or, why do you decide to kind of do that?
Well, that's a game we've been playing for a long, long time. Quarterbacks have been playing that game to 21, to 15, or to 11. Yeah, if you hit the guy in the face, you get 2 points. If you hit him in the body, in the torso, you get 1 point, and you count them up. And it's a game of accuracy. I've done it for a long time. It's something you can kind of warm up with and something you can kind of cool down with. Ultimately, you're trying to improve your accuracy as a passer, and you try to do it in a competitive situation. So it's always been a fun game for us to play. Dak and I started doing that when he was a rookie, and, I've been dominating him for a long time, to be honest. No, I'm kidding.
What is on the line? You got like a master's green jacket or anything like that?
No, you're not allowed to have any wagers here in the National Football League. So it's really just the pride of being the best at what we do.
How much longer do you think you'll be able to dominate him? How many more years?
Yeah, that was a little bit tongue in cheek. I'm not quite so sure I've been dominating him.
Jason, how tough is it for you to turn it off for the next couple of weeks and take the time to go on vacation and get away from football? Are you able to do that in these next few weeks?
I think it's important for all of us to do that. Obviously, there's a lot of preparation leading up to training camp that I'm going to be involved in, but we won't be here in the office. We'll get away, and you try to get yourself refreshed and recharged to get ready to go once training camp starts. So you never turn it completely off, but you do change the environment, and you take care of some things as they come. And really, it also gives me a time to think a little bit about what we want this team to be, and how we can try to make that happen. So whether it's with schedules or different things we're going to do, on the football field or with our team on offense, defense, or the kicking game, or some bigger picture team things. It's a good opportunity for me and the coaching staff to do that as well.
Dak was talking that the receivers, backs, maybe some tight ends will get involved here and run routes and get together at some point between now and camp. How do you think that helps?
Oh, I think that's everything. Ultimately, the time quarterbacks spend, with their receivers, alone on a practice field by themselves, that's the stuff that translates more than anything else. And, we had Michael Irvin out here, the other day. He was watching practice, and, the time that I've spent with him out on a practice field by ourselves, I know the time that Troy and other quarterbacks through the years spent with him, just working on routes. No coaches around, developing a feel for each other, just putting the time in, putting the work in, developing these bonds that you'll have for the rest of your life. I just think that's critical, and ultimately that stuff shows up on Sundays.
I know you're constantly tweaking things, obviously, as you go along, evolving, whatever word you want to use, but last year obviously had a lot of soft tissue injuries. Jordan Lewis and Jadobi come to mind right off the bat, and Jordan obviously missed some time. But is there any concession you're making to training camp this year that's a change up from last year in terms of trying to prevent those from happening as much as possible?
Yeah, you said it. We're always looking at what we do and trying to evolve it and tweak it in a way that can benefit our team. And obviously player safety is a really important thing for us. Keeping guys healthy is important for us. And we had some young guys last year who did miss a lot of time, valuable time. And it hurt them. It put them behind. And ultimately, when they got a chance to play, they showed us what they had, and we were impressed by that. But they missed too much time early on because of these injuries. So, we really started with the early part of our offseason program and how we addressed some things in our running program, how we address some things in our rookie minicamp. We took a different approach there. We've taken a different approach with how we practice here and some of the conditioning stuff we're doing after practice. So you're always looking at that stuff. You never always have the right foolproof answers, but you want to have good, reasonable responses to things like that. So you don't want to overreact, but if you can change some things up a little bit to hopefully benefit you in a situation like that, you certainly look at it.
When you're saying you changed up some of the OTA minicamp and how they're training here, will anything change in camp?
Yeah, there are some specific things. I don't know if it's directly related to that. We're going to do the conditioning test out in Oxnard on day one. We've done it. The players have administered themselves in years past, so that'll be a little bit of a difference. And again, we've looked at some specific things in practice, not only to address that, but to address some other issues. So we're always trying to look at ourselves and see what we can do to help our team be better.
Is it your understanding that Terrence Williams and Malik Collins was ready to go when you started training camp?
We anticipate Terrence Williams being ready to go. I don't want to make a prediction, but certainly at the outset of the camp, we're hopeful that he'll be ready to go. Malik Collins might be a little bit farther behind than he is. There's a lot of time between now and then, so we'll see how they progress. But we feel like Terrence probably has a better chance right from the get-go.
What have you seen from Byron Jones and the way he's embraced kind of the change to the cornerback spot?
Well, I think you said it. He's embraced it. And, he has a history playing corner. He was a free safety for a couple of years and was a corner for a couple of years in college. So this isn't that new to him. And, we've used him a lot in cover-type situations throughout his career up to this point, even when he was playing safety. So, I think he's excited about it. I think he fits with some of the things we're trying to do from a technical standpoint with our corners. And, he's one of those guys who's always prepared, always does everything he can to be his best in everything that he does. So, you see him really getting better before your eyes each and every day.
What have you thought of Alan Hearns through OTAs and the first two minicamp practices?
I think he's done a nice job. And I think he, like some of the other guys who are new to our team, you see them make significant improvement over the course of this off-season program. The first day they go out there for OTAs, we're doing things a little bit differently than maybe he's used to. But you saw him settle in a little bit, get more comfortable with our system, and I think we've seen more and more of who he actually is as a player as the off-season has gone on.
So there was this play last year towards the end of the season where he got hurt, and it was late in the game for Jacksonville. It was in like November, and he crawled off so that they didn't have to get the 10-second run off. I wonder if you had seen that, and if so, what you thought of it and what it kind of says about Alan.
Well, I don't know if I know the specific play you're talking about, but it seems to fit with the reputation that he has. And we've been fortunate to be around a lot of guys who know him, both from college and his time in the NFL, and they just speak so highly of him as a guy and his mental and physical toughness as a player. So I think that speaks to the situation that you're talking about, and that's really what he's been since he's been here. Works hard, loves the game, gets after it every day, always trying to get better. So he's really been a joy to coach up to this point.
Are there other guys besides Terrence and Malik who might be question marks that first week?
I think Malik is the guy more than anybody else, and we're hopeful that all the other guys who have been out will be ready to go on day one. But again, a lot of different things can happen between now and then, but that is the timetable for most of those guys.
Connor Williams was saying that watching Zach Martin practice yesterday was an eye-opening experience for him. What can that group do for a rookie, having the bar that high, that offensive line, as far as developing a guy quickly and bringing him along?
Yeah, you said it. It's about setting a standard, and really setting a standard for everything we do. And, we talk about that a lot. We're always watching you guys. We watch you walk down the hallway. We watch you eat lunch. We watch you in the locker room, outside the locker room, in the weight room, really everything you do. On the practice field, off the practice field, just how you conduct yourself. So he's got some great examples of guys in that offensive line room who do all of that stuff the right way. You think about Zach, you think about Travis, Tyron Smith, L.C. Collins is becoming one of those guys. I think they understand what the standard is and how to operate in everything you do each and every day. So it doesn't surprise me one bit that he was impressed by how Zach practices. Zach goes about it the right way, and he has right from the get-go. So, we're really excited to have him, locked up for essentially the rest of his career, because he represents everything we want in a football player.
As you think about the bigger picture during the break, are there a couple of particular things about this team that'll be on your mind?
I don't know anything in particular. We obviously have a lot of young guys on our team, but again, like we've talked, that's not unique to our team, and It's really kind of the nature of the NFL in recent years. So you got to get those guys acclimated as quickly as you can. Start to find some of the roles for those guys. As you go here, we'll continue to try to make a competitive situation for everybody. So you think about those competitions. But I think as much as anything else, you're always trying to maximize everybody in the organization. How can you create an environment where the coaches can be their best, where the players individually can be their best, the units, then ultimately the team. So those are the things that I think about as much as anything else.
Some teams that do some things in the last mini camp day and bring snow cone machines or whatever out. Do you guys have anything planned for your guys today?
We're going to have a full football practice, very, very situationally oriented, and hopefully it'll be a good day out on the field. And then afterwards, we're going to have a team lunch upstairs in the Cowboys Club that everybody's going to be a part of.
Along those lines, what Todd's talking about, obviously, you get to the last day, and especially for the young guys, it's been a kind of a mental grind and physical grind for a while. You get to the last day, you think vacation, you're already thinking about it. Do you have to remind them kind of vacation starts when vacation starts?
Yeah.
As well,
you took the words right out of my mouth. Vacation starts when vacation starts. And, we anticipate having a good practice today and then a good camaraderie over lunch upstairs at the Cowboys Club. And then, as coaches, we'll tie up some loose ends and, we'll be off for a little bit. And, players the same way. They've worked very hard. Again, laid a great foundation for our team. The rookies will be in next week working out. The veterans will have a little time, but we all got to get back to work and get ready for Oxnard.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Good to see you guys.